be with us and to taking part in this interview. We are trying to profile women who have been in the forefront in championing gender equality and women's rights in Kenya, and whose struggle and contributions have brought us where we are as a country. So as a champion in gender equality and women's rights, you can just tell us about yourself and what is it that motivated you to join in the struggle.
Okay, thank you very much, Wamboi, and thank you for inviting me for this occasion. I've just come all the way from Maasai, where I reside and do business. I do practice advocacy there. And thank you for inviting me back to the university that I graduated from 25 years ago. I'm proud to be here today. And I'm proud that the university made me what I am. That upon graduation, I went to practice in Eldoret, and I joined myself issues of FIDA. And FIDA were offering legal services, pro bono legal services, to those that were not able to raise fees. And from there, my name went out, and Maendeleo Wanawake, which was strong in those very particular days, came looking for me and asked me if I could join them in terms of doing legal services for them, in terms of advising them on issues women. And that is where my point of women representation, that is where my mind turned and said, yes, it is me who can be able to assist our women. That is way back in 1996, and I've not tired working for women. Thereafter, around 1999, when they called for commissioners, people to apply to be commissioners to do the Constitution of Kenya, I was one of the first applicants, and I was recommended by Maendeleo Wanawake organization. And from North Rift branch, we had a very strong woman then called Professor Margaret Kamar, and she told me, yes, Alice, you can be able to stand with us and work with us. And I applied. I came for the interview. Nothing to say that at that particular time, issues gender were very particular. And a woman applying to be a commissioner to do a constitution was almost unheard of. And the first thing that I had issues touching on gender and it became personal was when I was personally told off. I was told, you woman, you cannot represent Rift Valley to do a constitution. Politicians stood up against me. And I did not relent. I said, since I've known by virtue of practicing with the women what the women go through, let me try my hardest best. And Wambui, I want you to laugh. Because at one particular time, after I had done a very successful interview, that is under Yash Palgai group, some of our politicians from Rift Valley went to Mzee Moi. Akasema, mzee, hii ni nini umetuletea? Mzee anasema ni nini? Ati kwani Rift Valley tutarepresentiwa na mwanamke? But that gentleman stood his ground. He said, kama ulifanya interview, mimi sitaki kujua. Amepita, akaambiwa she was #1 in the interview. And Amos Wako confirmed that I was the best in the interview. So I was taken. And that's where we now struggled. We started by going to the ground. We were 15 in number, but before that, issues came that, of course, there was another group, the civil society, that was left out. And there were negotiations that took place. The late Oki Okombaka came in with his group and became the deputy or vice chairperson. And the whole group, Professor Wanjiko, we had Nancy, we had Salome Muigai, that is ladies. And from where they came from, we bonded very well. As women, when they came in, it was like, wow, we were waiting for each other. Kina Bidali, and that is how they made the grand group to do the constitution. I think at the end of the day, we ended up being 27 members, and we started now hitting the ground. We went to the people. Of course, we laid everything. We said, this is the constitution for the people. And the views that must be able to bring out the constitution must be the views from the person on the ground. And we went to the ground. And we collected views. You should have heard Kenyans talking. And that was my happiest moment. That even a woman will tell you, hata walikuchukuja juzi wakachukua kuku yangu, wamechukua mbuzi yangu, ati wanataka tuanze kuchanga sijui mchango ya wapi. Then we knew that is a constitutional issue, because once we go back, we'll interpret it to know the excesses of the excesses of the administration. Mama atalia, oh, juzi shamba yangu imeuzwa, nimefukuzwa. Niko na watoto, napeleka wapi watoto? You know that is a serious land issue. You go to some place, others will tell you this river used to flow throughout. Today there is no water. Then you know that is an environmental issue. So after collecting the raw data, we went back and synthesized the same into something that could be understood in the sense of the legal language. And thank God, we moved on up to Bomas. That is where now, where we had the whole issue coming up. I think that is the time the leaders or whoever were realized maybe this one is a greater thing that they could have beaten. But we plowed on. It was sad. It was sad. Because in Bomas, that is where now we were supposed to say yes to what we had gathered from the people and put it into perspective and made it law. But because of our usual intrigues, political intrigues and all that, for which I'm happy you're also part of it, you saw it. It was sad, but as women, we gathered again and we said, yes, we must not lose sight of what we want to have in the Constitution. And the gender issue was very strong at that particular time. The gender issue was so much ingrained in our minds. The gender issue was so endeared to us that even today, as I sleep, as I wake up, it is still gender. And the same ran in the whole Constitution. I think you've read our Constitution. It provides for very well laid grounds on gender. Issues of elections, that is to the National Assembly, to the National Assembly, it is ingrained that it must ordain and take care of the issue of gender, that it must not, one gender must not be more than 2/3. Issue of the county assembly, It has ingrained it, do the elections, but thereafter also take care of issue of gender. Issue of the Senate also, after the 47 elected seats, then gender must be properly taken care of. And that is where the buck stops. We went to the 2013 elections, which was a litmus test, and we saw what happened. Of course, you cannot force an electorate to elect whoever they want. We have now the National Assembly, they have the 47 women. The Senate, of course, were given a leeway. Political parties with stronger can appoint these, just like also the county government and the MCAs. That is what it is. The Constitution provides for a threshold where women must be included, where the disabled, where the youth must be included. But today, Wamboi, as I am here, I'm a sad woman, because in as much as we've been able to have, may I say first of all, I'm happy, at least some of them have been implemented, like for the 47, for the MCAs, for the Senate. But then we don't feel it in Mashinani. I told you I come from Mashinani. We want a situation where we can have a more forceful way of going forward. Thanks, right now we have the Human Rights Commission, we have the Gender Commission, we have all these, but with due respect, we don't really feel it on the ground. And it is my fervent hope that we can still go back to where we had strong women's groups, strong human rights groups that can be able to listen and articulate to the issues of the person there. Why do I say so? As I'm here, I do practice from Kajiado. I'm a lawyer by profession. And what our women go through there is something that really shocks most of us. And especially if I can tell the academia that what we do here is not or does not resonate with the ground. If I may give an example of a Maasai woman. Here is a man who is selling his land. We know matrimonial property as per the Constitution belongs to both of them, or to all of them. But what would happen is, this man will come to an advocate's office, offer the title deed, fill in the transfer forms, the consent, then you ask for the spousal consent. Where is it? They go and bring a woman in the streets on Amvalisha, Mashuka. That woman signs, and that is it, the land goes. Or, alternatively, he can even bring one wife. You know, some of them are very polygamous. Now, Nakuta, that one wife will sign, but there are other 2 or 3 women in the village who are doing inafanyika. At the end of the day, the land goes, they are disinherited, everything goes haywire. And that's why I believe if we had groups that can come up, and Wamboi, I hope you can spearhead this, that can come up to do civic education first of all, to enlighten our women, then that can help. Why do I say so? Some of the groups I meet on the ground, there are some groups come up and the saddest part is the drawing of donor fund. They are not funded to do that, because when the question comes up is already you have some of these agencies or organizations embedded in the constitution. They should be able to carry out this. You have the Gender Commission, you have the Human Rights Commission, you have the Ombudsman, you have all these. But we still need strong groups on the ground, just like we had during the constitutional making period and before constitutional making period, during the constitutional making period, and thereafter after a short while. If we can have that, we can be able to say Kenya is liberated. We can be able to say the woman is liberated. After all, without the woman, there's nothing much we can do, we can talk about. She is the epitome of the society. And I would wish to leave this message to Kenya and the whole world, that Kenya needs a strong women's organization, it needs a strong gender organization, it needs a strong youth organization, it needs, and if we have that, we can be able to articulate the issues of the woman from the ground there. After all, even when we are talking about hunger ravaging the country, hunger is ravaging who? The men have run off. They're in cities, they're in towns. Or they've taken the cows elsewhere. You'll find that woman and her children and a few goats or cows remaining suffering. I don't want to be emotional about this because
It always becomes.
I have it in me. I'm a very strong person when it comes to issues gender.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
So my one question, because now from your side it is like we have not yet won the gender battle in terms of promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. What opportunities do you see that we have as women and other agents who are committed to the same agenda? What opportunities do you see here in Kenya?
Of course, advocacy. I don't know. That's why I keep on going back to the strong caucuses, where even our women, whom we created slots for, and especially in the National Assembly, can be able to come together and know the whereabouts that created the states that they have, so that they know the reason why they were there. They are there. Some of them have gone there. We've never even heard them talk. We've never heard them even issue statements or even fight for a cause. So that is how we lose it. Because when we took them there, we knew why they were supposed to be there, to articulate the gender issue. But when they went there, most of them became moribund. So the losing factor is, yes, we have fought and we've won from the constitutional point of view.
Yeah.
But then, upon having them there, what have they done? What have they done? I'm not saying all of them are bad. Or I'm not saying all of them have not contributed towards making a woman's life better. But what I'm saying is, we know majority of them who've gone there just to warm seats in parliament. We can't allow that. So I don't know how to go about this, but because that is, especially for the 47, that is electorate. But for me, the most informative factor that has helped this country, even to bring back multipartyism, was issue civic education. And civic education, then whoever is going to do it needs empowerment. We need strong groups.
Maybe maybe my last question is in this struggle, starting from quite immediately after graduating from the university and being in that line of the struggle, what are some of the challenges that you have experienced? I know you have been touching on them. And two, what are some of the lessons that you have learned along the way?
When you talk of challenges, I started by telling you, even to become a commissioner was an uphill task. By the way, I want even to thank the former President Moi by just putting his foot down and saying, kama mefuzu, apatiwe. There are so many challenges. First of all, it starts from the home. And especially some of us pastoral communities. I'm a Marakwet myself. For a woman to be anything, you know, the man is always the man. Hata mwanaume akikuja jioni maneno yake nini umepika anauliza kwa Kigalenjin ni logugyu, yani are the children there and you are part and parcel of the children. So akisema logo na say no, you itika yourself, because you are part and parcel of the children. So but it is the landscape is changing. That's why I can be here today. I can be able to talk to you. Thank God I had a very informative or a very outgoing person, my late husband, Dr. Yano. He stood by me and he was able to build me a Marakwet from the roots, but then he had seen the world. So those are the challenges we go through.
If I just go back a bit, you know, you have talked about the challenges even as of growing up. Because, you know, now as a girl, even within the pastoral community, now even to reach to where you are, where you are being discriminated, that you apply, you have passed, you are number one in the interview, and yet, the let me call it the community, you know, the politicians are going to question, how can you be represented by a woman? What are some of the challenges in that process now, even for you reaching up there? Because there are lessons even for other girls and, you know, younger women who could be going through the same.
Yeah, for I mean, it's. I wish Lina Chibiki was here to tell you. For a girl child, growing up in those communities was very serious uphill task. Of course, the usual chores of fetching water from the stream, cooking, carrying firewood, that kind of thing. Then, of course, the initiation period, where upon initiation, you must get married. You must get married, whether you're 14, 13, 15, 16. You're lucky to be 16, because then you'll be 17, you're so old. So those are the things that messed most of our children up, that they were not able now to join the mainstream education. Reaching class 7 for some of us, I went to the old school of class 7, then Form 4, then Form 6, then the university, was an uphill task. Standard 7, that was you are ripe for marriage. Then Form 4 is a time now, some of the lucky ones now who are able to escape to Form 4. That is that is from Form 1 to Form 4. Unaanza kuchanuka. Now you see now the importance of education. You see even your headmistress driving a car, and you know she will tell you this is very important, education is important. Now by the time you're hitting Form 5, Form 6, of course you will be beyond the tribal threshold. So the challenges were too many.
That's what I was asking. Like now, you as a person, as a lesson which other girls you know, could learn from you. How are you able to translate?
Mine was it was the same communal thing. I went through the rites, and I was able to make it, but then. In as much as we had those problems, we had a chief a councillor in our place called Councillor Laswai. So what they used to do is go around the village finding out what is happening to these students. And like me, I did 36 out of 36 points to join secondary school. So they used to go for those very bright children. So that's how we were able to translate, because the government took, Councillor Soya, the government took an initiative to pick those kids who had done very well. Yes, but for those who had not done well, I mean, like for me, I was even called to Alliance Girls, but because of school fees, I was not able to go on time. Then President Moi took over. By that time, my position had gone in Alliance. I was taken to Kipsigis Girls High School, and I did very well. I agreed to go to Form 5, Form 6. So it is the leadership. In fact, you are talking something very important. It's the leadership on the ground also that should take mandate. If we can have the chiefs, if we can have the MCAs, if we are talking about the whole structure of the national government, to mashinani, to the headman, the whole structure of county government, from the governor to the ward representative, to the level that they can reach. They can be able to reach to these children and work with them and ensure they get the best. Yes. So the importance is governance must be, the government, both levels of government must be able to work on it.
So you are telling us now, those were your challenges now at the early age, and then as you join in the struggle for women's empowerment.
Yeah.
And now, maybe even before now, you are able to apply.
Yeah.
You are opened up, now you knew the world, there are those opportunities you can apply. What have been some of the challenges in struggling for women's rights and gender equality? What are some of the challenges that you have experienced as a person?
Nice. The one thing that disempowers the women so much is issues to do with money, issues to do with the resources, issues to do with the burdens that they carry with them. That if I can talk from the experience of having been gone to Mashinani, you'll find that at the end of the day, even these women, for purposes of wanting to support a candidate of her choice, she'll be told, I mean, there'll be no food in the house. It's a fact. And because she's got no financial capacity, then she becomes prey to manipulation. Apart from being prey to manipulation, we also have serious issues to do with culture. We don't want to run away from that fact. Culture in some areas, and especially pastoralist areas, is still a factor that should be reckoned with. Because you don't find a woman saying, I want to do this, without the express authority of the husband. And most importantly also is to note that women also have been disenfranchised for so long, and in their minds, in as much as we have the law, and most of them even, you can tell them this is a law, you are protected, you are what, but the minds are clogged. So it is a matter of ensuring that people go out and talk to them, to understand the current affairs, to understand what is happening, to understand the changes that are taking place in society, to understand what can be done to better their lives. Yes.
So thank you very much for all that. Now, would we just wish us you to give us your part in short in terms of this struggle? it is not yet complete. We need to continue as women or as agents of change. What is your parting shot?
Yeah, the Constitution has given us all the powers. I mean, we can't run away from that. We have it. We should be proud of it.
Yes.
We should be proud of the fact that the Constitution has spelled out what is good for women. And we should take advantage of that. The challenge here, and I keep on repeating this issue, is we need to do civic education to our women. We need to roll out. Roll out to them, talk to them. We need them to understand the importance of electing who. We need them to understand what is it that I will gain from this government. We need them to understand that it is not just a matter of people rolling out political party manifestos to them. It is a matter of reading those political manifestos, understanding them, and seeing whether the same can be made into reality. As we talk right now, yes, we are serious with voter registration, and voters have done very well. They've taken out their voters' cards. But now the next step is, how are you going to use this voters' card to benefit you? Yes. How are you going to use it to benefit you, to benefit your community, to benefit your people? So that, and I wish they can understand the law, so that nobody wakes up today and says, a politician tells them, I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. No. It is a matter of understanding that manifesto, then understand the law, and then make informed choices. Yes.
So thank you very much. We appreciate for all that information. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm also grateful.